Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Bridges and Tunnels. And I'd like to open the meeting. Are there any speakers today?
No speakers.
Okay. No speakers? Okay. Yeah, I saw him. Okay, no speakers. Can I have a motion on the minutes?
Move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, no questions, great. I want to welcome our two union leaders, Joe Markham and Mark Cyril. Welcome, you're always welcome. And I have a pleasant and an unpleasant task. I want to take this opportunity. Martha has been an ally and a friend of mine. She's moving up the ladder. We at Bridges and Tunnels are sad to see her move, but you know, as I always said, even in my family business, if we lost an executive, but of course we're not losing her because she's just moving up, and she'll be here in security and under Bill Morange. But you never want to hold anyone back, and I think that's an important factor. And Martha, my personal feelings, we've worked together so many years. It's really, really wonderful, and we have a little momentum for you, something that, as chairman, and I'd like to read what it says. The Bridges and Tunnel Committee of the Metropolitan Transit Authority gratefully acknowledges Martha's Executive Vice President Operations for her 20 years of service and achievement with the MTA Bridges and Tunnels. We congratulate Martha, a Gulf War veteran, a retired United States Marine Corps Lieutenant Colonel, as she assumes her new post as Deputy Director for Strategic Planning under the MTA Deputy Executive Director, Chief of Security, Bill Morange. Martha's service to Bridges and Tunnels has included leadership of internal security for the department and operations, which she has admirably led during the September 11th attack on the World Trade Center. In addition to this, her military service and active duty in Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm, she brings an extension of academic background, which includes a master's degree from Harvard University, John Jay College of Criminal Justice, and the Webster University, to her new role. We salute Martha for her hard work, professionalism since joining Bridges and Tunnels in 1988, and we look forward to working with her in the future within the MTA family. Martha, it'll be a personal, I'll miss you, and we got along very, very well, and will you introduce her, the acting?
The new Martha, the acting new Martha is Jim Ferrara, and Jim's down there.
Oh, yeah.
Is that better? Sorry, forgot about that. Jim grew up at Bridges and Tunnels. He has over 30 years of experience there. Most recently as yeah, I guess so. He most recently was the general manager at the Verrazanos, but he rose through the ranks. He started off life as a BTO and worked his way up. So he has a solid foundation and background to lead us in operations. And then the other thing is, I just wanted to mention that David is assuming executive VP and is another pair of very skilled hands, as you know.
Those are two great promotions, and I look forward to working with you. You have some high heels to fit into.
No, you got some leather boots there that you're probably gonna have to fill.
Okay. Martha?
Thank you so much, Mr. Really appreciate it. I know. Thank you. I just want to say that it's been my honor and pleasure to serve at Bridges and Tunnels and the MTA agency. And I'd like to thank Commissioner Mack. Your wise counsel and your support has been instrumental and tremendous for me. Look at this endurance. Oh, hey, that's a good one. I appreciate that. I love that.
Since it says Tri-Bar Bridge, it might be worth something.
Yeah, that's right. There's a collector's item right there. Thank you very much.
Well, Martha, we really wish you good luck, but we're not, you're not going too far.
No,
Just one floor
no.
up. Well, a couple floors up.
Yeah, it's right around here. But again, I just want to.
I'll leave it over here.
Yes, sir. I just want to thank the board for all the support and the wise counsel that you have provided, and I think that the MTA is very, very fortunate to have each one of you give of your time and your talents to the greatest transportation agency in the world. And it is that because of people like you and you who bring, like I say, your A game every week and every month to these systems. So again, Commissioner Mack, it's been my honor and pleasure. I can't thank you enough. Your support has been tremendous, and as our chairman, the MTA is very, very fortunate to have you in the capacity that you serve and all the years that you have given to this agency. On behalf of the Bridges and Tunnels, I thank you. Again, I'm looking forward to going into the security department, and you'll see me around. Thank you very much. I'm going to take this. Have a good meeting there, David. Congratulations.
Okay, keep in touch.
Take care, gentlemen.
Starting on a good note, I got to compliment Anthony for we have special concerns about bridges and tunnels and security, and I saw him last night, and I asked him to do something for me, and I got to thank you, and that we're right on time, and we look forward to a stronger display for a deterrent regarding this. So we start off on a good foot, and with that, Susan?
Also, I just want to comment about Dave Moretti, who's acting presidency for 2 years. What a fantastic job he did. And I know that's part and parcel to your promotion. And thank you for being there for us.
Yes, but we don't want it to go to your head.
Well, seriously.
No one's more grateful than me.
It really, he's been terrific, and your well-deserved promotion as well, David. And there's no one that roots for you more than myself and our committee. Right? Okay, Susan, you're on.
Okay, I think we approved the minutes. Did we approve the minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. The next agenda item is the committee work plan, which, in starting the new year, this month's agenda includes that, and it's the same work plan. It's consistent with 2008, and so if there's no questions, we can just move on to the report on operations. On the report of operations, David's going to do a brief PowerPoint presentation on preliminary traffic through December and then recap the year.
Okay, thank you, Susan. I'll try to keep this brief. I have it now down to about 6 slides for everybody. It sort of follows Mike D'Antoni's basketball philosophy, 7 seconds or less. It's 6 slides or less. Okay. If we go to the first slide. Okay. So what happened in December? Well, if we look on the favorable side, as we all know, gas prices have declined dramatically. They're down 52 cents. They were $1.88 in December, 52 cents lower than in the month of November, and about $1.27 lower than the prior year, December. Also, we had 2 more weekdays in December than we did in the prior year. Weekdays have higher traffic, generally somewhere around 10 to 15%. So you're talking somewhere between, on an average day, 80 to 120,000 additional vehicles that you get on a weekday. So that would be beneficial to us. Next slide. On the downside, we had some unfavorable weather. It was more snow, more rain. Both of those things make traffic decline. And as we know, the economy year to year has gotten weaker in a number of different categories, which depresses traffic a little. This is, oh, you skipped a slide. No, you're way ahead of me. There you go. The result was 23.9 million transactions in December, which was 2.3% lower than the prior year. That's about 500,000 fewer transactions than in 2007. It also results in the 14th consecutive month of traffic decline when you measure year to year. If you go back to the December before, in 2006, which was before all the decline began, traffic is down about 6.5% from December of 2006. Next slide. All right, this is the year-to-year graph. In summary, I think you can see that the first 4 months of the year, we tracked very closely year to year. I'm going to say, generally speaking, if you look at the weather, there was more favorable weather in most of those months than there had been in the prior year, which is one reason why they seem to track very closely. But obviously, starting in May, when we started doing these presentations here, and for the rest of the year, you see the gap widened. And if you remember, May was the first month that we saw very high gas prices, and they continued to grow. July, we had a little bit of a respite because of the way the July 4th holiday fell. It fell on a Friday this year versus the middle of the week in the prior year, and that resulted in higher traffic on July 4th. The remainder of the year was a combination of higher gas prices year to year, but also as you got further into the year, it was the softening economy that declined traffic. Next slide. This is a 10-year look. This includes our preliminary traffic for 2008. As you see, we expect to have about 295.6 million transactions this year, which is considerably lower than in 2007, and it kind of brings us back to the level where we were when we began the millennium in the year 2000. If you think the millennium began in 2000, or some people still argue it began in 2001. I'm not sure which one it is, but the traffic levels are now considerably lower than they have been for quite a while. Next slide. Okay, if we take a look at the year, you see overall traffic was down about 3.2%. If you look at where the traffic was down, cash traffic was down considerably more, as you would expect. Those are people who are more price sensitive. If you look at trucks, which is other vehicles versus passenger cars, it's surprising, but trucks and buses were not down very much. They represent a very small portion of daily traffic, but their year-to-year traffic was almost on average the same. If you look at the weekday and the weekend traffic, what you notice is the traffic decline is outside the peak periods on the weekdays, and it's on weekends. It's 3.8% lower in the off-peak periods on a weekday and 4% lower on the weekends. Again, people are taking less trips and tightening their belts when they're not necessary. Obviously, getting to work is important for people, so you see a lower decline there. So the declines are in the periods where the travel is more discretionary. And that's the summary for the year and the month. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
The only I would say is obviously with the decline in gas prices recently, depending on which way they go, it does to some degree eliminate the gas price issue from the comparison. Because gas prices now are basically what gas prices were, and yet we still see a decline. So it obviously we saw more of a decline when gas prices were much higher, but we've eliminated to some degree that issue now, which results more and more in the economy being not the only factor, but clearly the determining factor in whether people are taking trips and now whether they're taking, as you clearly pointed out, the discretionary trips. And that's going to be an interesting context as we go into 2009, assuming gas prices stay the same or reasonably stay the same, to see how the economy itself by itself affects our traffic. And I have no doubt it will probably continue to decline to some degree, probably more out of the discretionary time than out of the employment
The
time.
one thing that I thought was interesting, though, was that truck traffic was holding
Right.
up pretty well. So I think that you're right. You start to, there's always those extraneous weird things like an extra weekday
Right,
or it
right.
rained or
Right.
something. But yeah, I think that you're right. It hopefully will be able
Are
to
we
look more at the
seeing-
economy.
Is any one or two of our facilities impacted greater than any of the others? Or are they basically all tracked the same?
Well, we've been seeing a larger decline on the Manhattan crossings when you look at it proportionately.
Okay.
It has been higher. But, even weather always makes traffic decline, and I think in this economy, even a little bit of weather makes people stay home even more. And the declines, I think, are much larger than what we would have seen in the past.
But the question is, are some of these folks switching to trains and buses instead of using their own personal vehicles? If those numbers remain steady or climb, then it's pretty obvious that they are.
Are you starting to see a decline? Obviously, I haven't followed.
We haven't seen this month's figures yet, but
Right.
we had.
Long Island bus,
Long Island
yeah,
bus,
it's down.
Long Island Railroad
Starting
numbers
to.
started decline a little in November, greater in December than the previous years, and, the assumption is that it's employment related. Especially people going to the city, which is where most
Right.
of Long Island Railroad passengers go, especially during the peak hours, that number has declined, so it may not be a question of them transferring from one mode to another, it may be a question of they're not going at all. And that's almost 2.5%. So it was not over the previous December, so it was not an unreasonable. Now, they still had a year-to-year increase because they had built up in the first 10 months a significant number, but the last two, especially December, you clearly saw a softening of that ridership, and I think that was clearly economy related.
Moving to the Easy Pass report, the most significant thing to report is not what's in the package, but over the next few weeks, the Staten Island Walk-In Center and the back office Easy Pass function are being transitioned to a new location in Staten Island. So it's moving, for those of you who know Staten Island, from Edgewater to South Avenue. And this is a result of a contract that the board approved in February of 2007, where we are upgrading and improving our back office function, and it will result in faster service for our customers, and it will allow for things like people using the web being able to pay by e-check. So it's just making sure that you're aware that the office is moving. We're going to need to close the office for the Friday and Saturday when we transition, and then it will be open on Monday morning again.
What's the address on South Avenue?
1150 South Avenue. I'm
What else-
told it's
what else is
moving
there?
about 5 miles.
It's near the teleport. It's, I think, what they used to refer to as the chocolate factory, the building itself.
Okay. I'm just I would be a little bit concerned about the parking over there, but
I'll check and see what the parking situation is, and I'll give you a buzz. 'Cause I haven't had a chance to get out there yet.
well, you can take me to lunch and come out there.
Okay. For the balance of
Gotta
the
get a meal.
for the balance of the Easy Pass report,
Get all my other perks.
we had, during November, more than 17.4 million Easy Pass transactions. We have a market share of almost 74% for the month, and a year-to-date market share also of about 74%.
In terms of
No.
a monthly number or the year number? I believe it's the highest
Excuse me?
year-to-date. Yeah, I think
The
it's high.
highest year-to-date?
Yeah, I think when you look at the year-to-year, we're up slightly over last year.
We have also about
Susan?
3 million active tags.
How is the Bronx pass program that you did on
The Easy Pass to Go?
yeah, how's that working? I know you had some positives the last time I think we talked about.
Yeah, I mean, it still represents somewhere between 10 and 15% of all of our new Easy Pass sales. We came to the board a couple of months ago to get approval of a contract that we were writing with the Transit Authority to do background checks on new merchants that are going to be selling the Easy Pass on the go. So we're getting ready to expand it even further.
So right now it's just circulated around the Bronx-Whitestone Bridge. Is there other
We
bridges?
tried to focus in on that area because that was the
Low
area with the
Easy
lowest
Pass,
market
Right.
share. Right. We also had it in the Transit Museum store during the holiday season.
So when you look to expand, you're going to focus on other select areas or just try to go?
Yeah, we're going to try to go. It'd be citywide.
Citywide.
Right.
Again, the Sun Pass, you should take a look at their distribution records, because I know they have them in supermarkets, and all of those are credible, when they ring them up and so forth. So in the city, with a nice signage and good publicity, it would be a great idea to expand it, because you're making it easier for everybody.
We do it now with the Metro cards in some areas, so I'm happy that we're looking to expand them. No.
The Thruway also does it upstate, too. Oh. Okay, turning to the financial report. For the month, revenues were $2 million below the mid-year forecast, primarily due to the lower toll revenues. And year-to-date, they're about $1.2 billion, and just about on the money compared to the mid-year forecast, just $0.6 million below. On the expense side, in November, before depreciation, expenses were $30.6 million, which was about $9 million below the mid-year forecast. Year-to-date, spending was about $360, which is $16 million below the mid-year forecast. And our total support for mass transit's 27 better than the mid-year forecast. 27 million. On the capital side, in the mid-year. Oh, this should be compared to November.
We have that also in the book.
Yeah. No, the notes, better than the November plan?
Yeah, that's right. We have net income. Well, we only go through, so. Do you want to take that? No, we only have through net income. We don't have distributable income, rather support.
No. The November financial plan compared to, not the mid-year, not July. It's
Yeah, not compared to July,
not
but compared
July.
to
It's compared to
November.
November.
7 is what you mean.
No. The November plan, which we just passed the budget on in
Right.
December,
Yeah.
assumed
Right.
a certain number
Right.
year-end that we were going to provide
Right.
for
These
mass
numbers
transit.
are
Right.
compared to,
If you turn to page 38, on page 38, we don't have support to mass transit, but we do report on against revenues and against expenses. And we're running slightly better on revenues and about $9 million underspending against expenses. So I would assume that would lead to higher support to mass transit. I just can't give you an exact number, but we could certainly do that after the meeting. I couldn't guess at this point.
But it's somewhere between 0 and 10. Is that what that says?
Yeah, I would think so, yeah. In terms of how much better we're doing in a variance? Yeah, I would guess that would be right. Yes.
on the capital side, in December, we committed actually about $34 million, and the total for the year was about $350 million, which represents 82% of our plan. And this is actually the largest annual commitment that B&T has done. In terms of completions, for December, 2 projects were completed, and the total was about 79 million, which brings us up to 96% of what was planned. And 7 tasks were closed in December, and for the year, we closed out 342 million, which is a pretty big program for us. There were, on the procurement side, there are 4 procurements proposed for this month totaling 2.1 million. There are no non-competitive. Right, there are 4 competitive. The first one is the personal service contract with PBS&J Architecture and Engineering in the amount of about $1.5 million to undertake a study and assessment of barrier-free video tolling at B&T facilities. The second is a miscellaneous service contract with Trip Consultants Corp. In the amount of about $250,000 to provide traffic counts and related traffic data services on our facilities. The third is a miscellaneous service contract with Inner City Tire and Auto Center in the amount of $15.9 million to repair mountain balance tires and provide emergency road services for B&T vehicles.
15,000.
Yes, 15,994. And then the last item is a modification to a public works contract with El Sol Contracting and Construction Corp. For $347,000 to increase and decrease quantities related to deck work, structural concrete, and other support structures based on what they're seeing in the field for the Cross Bay.
Okay. I have a motion.
I move them.
Good. Are there any questions on any of those?
Not necessarily a question,
Jeff?
but I guess just for discussion. On the contract for the cashless tolls, we've talked about this a number of times in this committee. I'm actually pretty happy, and I've been assured by looking at the RFP, by seeing the number come down from at one point estimated as high as $5 million to be less than $1.5 million. I think now is the time to do it. I also think that we've talked a lot about actually moving forward with it rather than not moving forward, and I think given the fact that this is a serious issue, the time is right to do it, and it seems like everyone wants to move in the direction. I'm pretty happy that we're going to move forward in something that is not as expensive as originally thought, and certainly will provide benefits to the drivers and to the community surrounding the bridge tolls. That if in fact you can move through quickly, it's less traffic congestion on either side of it. So, thank you.
A point well taken for the other bridges, and hopefully that will wind up getting. But hopefully we can put some teeth into legislation where is the same as a parking violation. If you have 3 outstanding unpaid tolls, you won't be able to renew your registration. I think that's something that we should push for in Albany, and it's all around the state right now. If you have 3 parking violations that are unpaid in the village that you live in, the town, or the city of New York, then you can't renew your registration. So going along with Jeff, that will give us some teeth, and that will also, we don't have to chase him right away in the notice that you send him. The people will realize that they won't be able to renew their registration. It's worked well in the city. It's been in effect for 20-plus years, so I think we should look at that for a legislative solution to help us collect the tolls. In New Jersey, the Port Authority does not have it, and unfortunate, we lose a lot of revenue. Okay. Any other questions on this?
And the fact that everybody is so concerned about revenue enhancements at the moment, this might be a good time for the legislature to give it to us. Because we're trying to figure out ways to enhance our revenues without increasing tolls or fares. This is a way to increase our revenues for those people who should be paying it in the first place. You use the facility. That would make sense.
well done. You're 100% correct. But it's something that will go hand in hand with even a gateless system, if it's to be, as long as security is not jeopardized and the safety of the bridge and tunnel officers. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, now this contract will be implemented for where?
This contract will be implemented to look at, essentially, it's going to do a number of things. It's going to do a technology assessment that looks at the current technologies available for video tolling. It's going to look at other places in North America.
I guess the question is,
full
though, that this is
agencies.
for possible implementation system-wide. It's not looking at a specific facility.
No, it's not looking at a specific facility. We're trying to understand how this works and where it works and doesn't work, and what the best practices are, and looking at what the best payment options are and what enforcement issues there are. I mean, runs the full gamut, but it's not a specific facility.
For all of the reasons cited by Jeff and supporting what Mitch said, I agree we should move post haste.
The deliverables a year, right? Or a little over a year?
There are milestones in the contract
Right,
so
no,
that
no,
there
that I
are
know.
sooner deliverables. Yes.
Great.
But the contract
Sooner the better, so we
itself
can
is
start
actually
moving to
14
implement.
months? 14 months?
Thanks.
Now, let's move on to the procurements. Are there any other questions on procurements?
No, did I move them?
Could
Yeah,
you
you moved in second.
Second, no other questions? All in favor? Great, thank you. So
We
carried.
have executive session.
Yes?
We have one on
Discuss what?
labor matter.
I'd like a motion to move to executive session. All in favor? Okay.
Okay, we got to clear the room.